I've never been married. I am currently single. I am dating, but no, I've never had children. And, the topic of marriage, especially when you're over 40 and you're a woman, is something that can be touchy, I think, for many of us. It certainly has been touchy for me. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my story. Like I said, never been married, but I have been engaged. I was engaged about 4 years or so ago, very short-lived. I ended the engagement. That was absolutely the right thing to do, and I'm happy that I did that. Never looked back. Okay, so that is, I was engaged once. I've never had children, but I have frozen my eggs before I turned 40. So I do have eggs in the freezer. I pay egg rent every year, but I've never had children, etc. So I know a lot of you are probably like, well, why have you never been married? I've always been afraid of what people think about that. And maybe it's not the thing you're thinking about, right? There is a lot of societal pressure to be married, to have children, especially in certain cultures. My parents never put a lot of pressure on me to get married and procreate, have children. In fact, sometimes I wish they put more pressure on me. Maybe I would have made it more a priority. I was always worried about people thinking there must be something wrong with me because I'm unmarried and over the age of 40. I mean, okay, let's just be real. You see someone, you're like, why aren't they married? What's wrong with them? What's their problem? There must be something. She crazy, right? Well, oh, you must be picky. Oh, you must this, you must that. Why isn't she married? What's wrong with her? She must not be picking right.
So if you guys don't know who that is Dr. Jennifer Caudle, or Jen Caudle, if you will. She's a media personality, YouTuber. She's also a family physician. If you guys didn't know, she's been on different TV shows, radio shows, The Doctors, Dr. Oz, things like that. And she's also a consultant, for lack of a better term. And I believe she's also an associate professor, if that's the proper term, for a college. And I think she's also based out of New Jersey. But we know that this is something that is constantly talked about, particularly in the black community, with black professional women, or if you want to say black educated women, where they're usually over 40 a lot of times, and they are unmarried, have never been married, and they put their career first. And this has been a talking point for a lot of podcasts to discuss this as well. And as she said, the pressure was on, and she just wanted to be successful. She wanted to have that whole, I don't want to fail. I don't want to let my parents down. I want to be someone in life, so I don't have a problem with putting marriage and having children on the back burner. And hey, to each their own at the end of the day. I'm not tripping. A lot of men don't want to get married, but especially nowadays, because you typically think women want to get married because that's the one thing that men are really in control of, as opposed to a relationship. Ladies, you can't marry yourself, but she's basically like, hey, I'm perfectly fine being a bachelorette, going out on dates, getting my cheeks clapped, and having a baby will throw a monkey wrench into things. And is she wrong? That's up for you to determine, but that's what people decide to do. Now, she's 44 years old. She said that she was engaged 4 years ago. It just didn't work out. Maybe she's just gotten used to it. And we've seen this before, guys. In particular, there's been a reporter that I did a story on, which I'll link it above. Her name is Rochelle Carey. She just became a mother, I think. Is she in her 50s? I think she's in her 50s. But she just said that she just wanted to put her career first. She was a reporter for, I believe, Al Jazeera out in Doha. And she was on Tamron Hall show, and she was just saying it just wasn't a thing. Some women, they just don't fit into that orthodox outcome or family setting in life that they want to do. They just would rather explore, get their cheeks clapped, travel, have fun, because a lot of times for some women that just holds you back, man. But we're gonna get back into this clip and see what else she's got to say. Let's go.
So why am I not married? When I was young, I didn't dream about getting married and having babies. It's not that I didn't think I would do that. It's just that wasn't in my dreams. To be honest with you, I was always worried that I wouldn't be successful making it to med school, passing my boards, and I did all of those things, but that was always front and center. When I was in my 20s, to be honest with you, I was just trying to make my parents proud and to become something, because I honestly was truly afraid that I wouldn't be. That was something I worried about. And you know what? I didn't take dating very seriously. In my 30s, I still was that way through half of my 30s. But what happened was around the time I started freezing my eggs, my latter part of my 30s, I actually started panicking about the fact that I wasn't married. And I remember specifically talking to my mom being like, why didn't I take this seriously? Why didn't I make better decisions? And I started thinking back to all the guys I dated being like, oh, should I go back? Maybe he was one. Why didn't I, and I tortured myself. Crucified myself because I said, how could you not have taken this seriously? What did you do? You let all this time pass and now you're almost 40 and what the flip? How did we get here? Because all of a sudden I was approaching 40 and my parents were like, you need to freeze your eggs. I was like, ah! I was remorseful. I was regretful. I was embarrassed. And I felt like I had wasted a lot of time. In my 40s, which I am, I'm proud to say that things have gotten a little bit better for me. The reason why I haven't gotten married is honestly because I haven't found him yet.
She hasn't found him yet, guys. And a lot of you ladies, especially you professional women, you are looking for a man that's on your level. I'm not always saying that he has to be a man of color, because the higher you go up, the more you're worth. You're not really going to find a man on that same level. The pickings are slim, and I just talked about this on a previous video where a woman was just like, she wants a guy to be on the same level as her, things like that. It doesn't always happen like that. And if it does, he's probably got a few other women, or you may not be his choice. So in her case, she said she froze her eggs, which a lot of these women talk about, freezing their eggs and things like that, and want to have a child later on. And hopefully they come across this guy. And a lot of women in her position usually ending up with a white man that may be equal playing field, or maybe a little less, but she's willing to accept those things, as opposed to a black man who may be available, but she's just like, that's not it. But at the end of the day, 40 years old, you looking at your contemporaries, they are married, they are starting a family, and you are going to all these social events and things like that, and you don't want to go alone. So a lot of these ladies, they'll just ask a guy out or deal with a guy temporarily just to go to these things. But they don't want anything long term, because they've just been so used to being on their own and taking care of themselves. And that independent mindset. How can I submit to a man when I have all these patients, this lifestyle? And this is one of the things that Kevin talked about as well, as far as women in the healthcare field and health profession. They're bossy, they're independent. You can't tell them anything. And the little change they have coming in, they think it stands for something. But it sounds like if that's something that you truly wanted, you would make time for it. A lot of these women like, I don't have time for it. And I get it. Nobody's pressuring you. Some dudes was like, hey, we can hang out, have fun, hook up. I clap the cheeks, you going about your business. That's cool with me. Guys aren't tripping. I'm not like, hey, you need to get married. How? You may be trying to find a man that is a unicorn, for lack of a better term. And because you haven't found him, you're like, I just haven't found him. There's guys out there. There's tons of eligible men out there. But let's hear what else she's got to say. Let's go.
It literally took me waking up one morning where I had blamed myself and said, well, maybe you are too picky. Well, maybe you are crazy. And maybe you didn't take this seriously. And why didn't you do this? And why weren't you this? And I can't believe you did this. And how did you let 15 years go by without thinking about this? But you know what? The bottom line that I actually came to a realization about, and there's a lesson in this. There's a reason why I'm telling you this. It's not just bearing my soul, which I am, but there's a reason. And one thing I have never really felt settled about is my relationship status. Yes, I'm in and out of relationships here and there, but I spend more time out of relationships than in them. And people are like, why? What's wrong? You know, I'm always worried. People are like, what's wrong with her? But you're not married because you haven't met him. Jen, you haven't met him. You know, if I had met him, I'd be married. I don't look back. And even though I've tried to look back and say, oh, maybe it was him. Maybe it was him. Did I pass him by? Maybe I should go. There's no one in my past that I feel like I should go back to. And there's no disrespect to any of the men that I've dated. If you're watching this, I love you all. And I really do. I'm friends with most of my exes. I have no hard feelings. But the truth of the matter is, I finally had to accept what for me was a relief, which was that I haven't met him. And it's reminded me and re-taught me that things only happen the way they're supposed to and in the time that they're supposed to. My path was not supposed to be everyone else's path. Our paths are individual. Each one of our paths are independent of others. All the women out there who may be in my boat who's over 40, not married. I'm not even close to married. I'm not dating a guy seriously. And it terrifies me to think that in order to have a child, the time that it's going to take me to find a guy, lock that in, get married, have a kid, it makes me want to vomit, just being very honest with you, because I'm overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't even know. Am I going to be too old to have a kid? I don't know. But the bottom line is that I have to trust the process. I have to trust life. I have to trust God, who I believe in, trust whomever, whatever you believe in. And I also have to trust that what has happened in my life was not supposed to happen any other way.
Once again, not knocking you, but baby, whatever you want to tell yourself, you're 44 years old. You're not getting any younger. You're going to end up adopting. I think like the other lady, I think she adopted. I don't think she had that child naturally. She ended up adopting a reporter, Rochelle Carey. She actually ended up adopting. But what we need to come to terms with, you haven't found the right one because you are too picky, or maybe some guy just doesn't want to deal with you. Maybe you're just not the person that you appear to be on camera. A lot of these women have, regardless of her being educated, she may have serious personality issues. She may be an asshole. She may be just want to talk about herself constantly. Maybe she's all about herself. Maybe all she talks about is her accomplishments. And if you haven't accomplished the same thing as her, a lot of you ladies end up in that boat and you wonder why you can't find a man, because no man wants to hear that shit. No man really cares. I'm just being honest. And she's like, it terrifies me that I'm going to have to settle down and lay down with the man and have him do this, and I may have to submit, and I may have to. Don't adopt like all the rest of these women, because the older you get, the more people aren't going to be around. Regardless of how much money you got or how much of a profession you are, you aren't getting any younger, you aren't getting any prettier. So the one thing that is inevitable is loneliness. And if you choose to be by yourself, then that's it. You may decide to say, hey, I want a child now. I'm going to adopt just to have someone around, or just someone to keep you company. But this is just the nature of things that I want you ladies to really consider. I'm not knocking her, but she says everything is in time. We aren't living like the times of Abraham and Sarah. You aren't living to be 700 years old. 75, hey, we're looking at kicking the bucket somewhere around there. Tops. So we're not talking about menopause setting in any of these other things. And at a certain point, you're not wanting to run around a child. Definitely don't want to be running around a child in your 50s, late 40s. You trying to whatever. But I feel you. Do your thing, ladies. Don't beat yourself up. But at the end of the day, you're only here for a short period of time. And if you think that your selection is going to broaden the older you get, hey, do your thing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this video. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up on Linktree to book a one-on-one with yours truly. Purchase all my books, merch, t-shirts. It helps to support the channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. With that being said, much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. This is your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm out of here. Peace.
Yeah. 50 Cent. 50. Part 2.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Can't forget Tony.
50.
UK.